Welcome back. If you've just tuned in, we're having a frank conversation with President Jacob Zuma about many issues affecting our country now and I suppose in the future as well. Thanks again for your time, Mr. President. It's always a pleasure having you here with us. Let's move away from students, and I suppose we can't ever really move away from them because it's the center of everything. They are our future, they are our present. So let's now look at the unemployment figures that have come out recently. Unemployment, it's growing wherever you look. The latest stats say that joblessness has spiked in 6 provinces. Nationally, we are sitting on 0.5% up in total unemployment. This is at about 25.5%. This has to worry you.
It is. It is worrying me. It is worrying the government. It is worrying the ruling party. It's a problem that we have been dealing with almost from the beginning. Unfortunately, the economic meltdown globally made an impact that put us into difficulties on this one because it meant that the economy was not growing as we had planned. So it meant that therefore the issue of people losing jobs is going to be more. The question of young people qualifying, coming into the labor force are not going to get the jobs easily. So it is a very worrying issue. And each time we look at those figures, are the figures that worry a great deal. We've tried our level best under the circumstances to create the kind of projects in the economic activities that employ people, like the infrastructure and a number of other things. We have, for an example, come up with the 9-point plan to develop economy in an attempt to implement the National Development Plan. These are things we do in an attempt to address that issue. But as long as the economy is growing very slow, that becomes the problem. It's a global problem. It's not just a South African problem. How to handle that? For an example, in the World Economic Forum that was held here, one of the issues I was raising, and I've raised it within our government, thinking about it, raising it with the private sector, shouldn't we identify few sectors that perhaps could be ring-fenced to be labor-intensive and less a kind of technological development taking over so that you guarantee the employment? Is an issue that we are looking at. It's not an easy one because it means some industries should be then put to address this issue or whatever, particularly because there is the younger generation that is coming in who will end up not getting employment. Yeah. So what is it that we can do? It's an issue that we talk about all the time.
Yeah, and it's an important issue because it's an issue that, again, relating back to what we're seeing from the students is they want the education. They want to go out there and get jobs, but the jobs aren't available. And industries are bleeding jobs all of the time. We're living in a different world to how things are. I mean, this is a technological world. This is a world where news spreads so fast and messages get out so fast, which in itself it's good, but it's dangerous. We've seen it happen in our other African countries on the continent. Yes. We talk about Arab Springs, where people are not happy because they don't have anything. What are we doing as a matter of urgency to enrich the people of South Africa?
Well, as I say, you can't do magic. You can't do magic. It's a question of how far do we go with this issue. In 2008, when the economic meltdown globally came, we all met, government, private sector, labor, organized labor, and the communities. We all met to say, how do we meet this? We agreed then that we needed to establish a fund which all of us will contribute so that instead of the workers who will be losing jobs, going out of the industry, they will be taken to develop their skills. and that money was for that one. And that, in a sense, helped us not to have the greater number. Now, that indicates we need to discuss the issue collectively to say, given the fact that this continues as the numbers come all the time, what else can we do? That's why I was saying there are ideas about, couldn't we perhaps identify industries that would be labor intensive to ensure that we therefore do the unusual in order to address the issue, because it is a serious issue, but it needs all of us. You bear in mind that the problem is that government is not a job creator. Government creates conducive environment for the private sector. So we need to coordinate this, all of us. Also with the workers, we need to look at the kind of things that will make other people get jobs easy, rather than making it or becoming difficult to have people, for an example, who come out of universities getting jobs, creating a favorable environment there that you can have this. So that is a challenge that faces all of us. It's not just the problem of government, because no one can say we have not created conducive environment for investment. But the issue is that the economic meltdown globally has had this impact. Now, given the fact that we are a developing country, given the fact that we've got a particular history that, in a sense, impact as a history in how our labor is. You know that if you count unemployed workers, you find that a good percentage is unemployable, or they don't have the skills, given our history. These are the matters that we need to take into account. That is why I'm saying, if perhaps we could move towards saying these particular industries, we reinforce them, that it takes more labor, should be labor intensive in order to meet or mitigate the situation of unemployment.
Yeah, I know that you say that government is not a job creator. It makes conditions conducive for business to work. But corruption is a huge issue that's stopping business from working, that's stopping external investors. What do you have to say about this?
Well, we are fighting that. I think our government was the first in this country to initiate a struggle to get rid of corruption. Corruption is a sickness in the world. We established institutions to address that issue, and we've arrested people. We've done everything who are doing corruption, and we'll continue to do so, because it is a big problem. It's not just a problem, although, and if you listen to the narrative, corruption is always put as if it's a government problem. Corruption is in the private sector everywhere. We fight it. We have policies to deal with it. But it is a problem. And you'll find it everywhere in the world. It might differ if, for example, in other places, the media does not necessarily expose it. So it might look like there is nothing of that nature. It's something that needs all of us to come together and fight it. We believe we are in the forefront in fighting corruption, because it comes from one point or the other. We've arrested people in the civil servants. We've dismissed people. We've made people to pay back. So it is a struggle that we are moving. We've got special institutions that do special investigation. We can't wish it away. We have got it to work to get rid of it. And I think we do have the instruments to do so. But it is a huge challenge.
It is a huge challenge, and it's something that affects every part of our society, which in turn leads to crime. And crime in South Africa is, one would say, out of control. Would you say that?
Yeah, absolutely. In South Africa, out of control, let me just explain as I understand it. In many countries, crime is very high, higher at times than in South Africa. Now, the difference in South Africa, and I think this is what everybody should appreciate, crime has become too violent in South Africa. People kill because they want to rob you without even knowing whether you have anything to rob out of you. The guns are too much. People are shooting. People do extra things. For an example, one of the very terrible crimes is the rape of young kids or old women, which you don't hear from other places. So you could isolate some of the areas which to us are terrible, but it is too violent. That is, I think, what makes it to be a little bit above others. It's a violent part that South Africa exercises. They become very violent criminals. They kill, they come in, they can take things and wait for you to come instead of taking and disappearing, and they're armed. They shoot, they do everything. That's a problem. That's a problem. They take a car of somebody, they shoot somebody. That's a problem we're faced with. South Africans have to discuss, should we have these guns all over the country? Is that conducive to the kind of life, safe life that we want, that everybody else is armed? Should we agree to that? Do we have a solution to deal with that? Because it is an important point for a nation to debate and say, what do we do? Do we want everybody to hold, say, a gun because they are afraid of something? And therefore, to increase the chance of guns out there that are taken by criminals? Or should we disarm the society? Only the police, soldiers, and perhaps security that carry guns, so that there's less of people who are carrying guns. These days, people just quarrel, sitting, and he takes out a gun. And if he did not have a gun, they would not even reach the area, the stage of fighting. Gun creates a particular feeling. Now, I'm saying, as a country, we need to discuss that.
Yeah.
What do we say about guns that are in the hands of everybody, including criminals? But also, you are aware that our population is also having a lot of people coming from other countries to South Africa. We're one of those countries. And some of these people have skills, some of them were soldiers, etc. And that's why the crime has become violent in many ways. What do we say as a country? It should be a problem of all of us to discuss and agree, what do we do? Do we want only those who are authorized to carry the guns, or do we want everybody else? I'm saying the danger is that the guns at times are with people who are not responsible to handle the guns.
Yeah.
And the results is that many people die.
What would you like as president? Would you like to see gun control tightened extensively here in the country?
I would. Absolutely would.
Why are we not doing it then?
That's the point I'm saying. Let the society discuss the matter. Because everybody, or not everybody, many people want to own the guns. But the guns slip out of their hands, are used. That's why I'm saying we need the country to discuss the matter and empower the government, for an example, to tighten. Because if you tighten, people are going to say you are, in a sense, interfering with the right of owning a gun because we've got rights. But if the country says, let us do this, after seeing, and because I think there are statistics that indicate that guns kill more people than any other thing. So we need a country or organizations to discuss and take a decision on this matter, so that people should not say government is imposing a thing that I have my gun because I want to protect myself. Because if all of us are not having guns, they're only with the security people who ought to have them, I'm telling you, the death through the guns will be eliminated.